Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back your lovely faces to a brand new video here on the channel. The Dan Wootton series, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Now again, I think I have to put this now at the front and the start of the videos because a lot of people in comments, they just seem to, well, literally just jump on something, put a comment saying, prove it, you're a liar, you're this, you're that, without actually having to watch the videos. And again, with that, I'm like, okay, you know, fair enough. They haven't got the brain cells to even go the far into the video. But we do have to remember these are allegations. Just because I don't like him doesn't mean that he's not innocent until proven guilty. Now we got that out of the way, we're going to have a little look at something which, to be honest with you, it's all connected. You know, this is all connected. So, this is what we got. Smeared on windscreen as reporters have been threatened over the Dan Wootton investigation. The executive editor of the Barbarian Times says journalists have been threatened over reporting of allegations faced by GB News presenter Dan Wootton. Now, remember, we need to look at this, and this is something that's not uncommon. When journalists and everything else, they start printing things and saying they've been doing investigations for 3 years, remember, 3 years. You know, way before GB News was even a thing, so no one's actually after GB News. But when you've got people from different entities, different companies, and they're all doing an investigation into someone, and it's taken this long, that does normally mean that they have quite a bit of evidence, and they got quite a bit of witness testimony. Now, if it was just one person, you could be like, right, okay, maybe this needs to be looked into a little bit more. But then when you look into it and you start finding many, many more people. A journalist has had what appears to be this smeared on their windscreen amidst the backlash over their investigation into GB News presenter Dan Wootton, their editor has told Yahoo News. Peter Jukes, co-founder and executive editor of the Barbarian Times, says the incident came after one of his reporters was targeted by a phishing email earlier this week, which may have given away their address. Yeah, the Barbarian Times were also hacked into. So that, and obviously being smeared on the windscreen, and that this journalist is actually included in the Dan Wootton story, it's all connected. You can tell that. You can tell. But going forward, it's a bit like, when you go, oh, it's just a coincidence. No, it's not. You know, again, it's like, why hasn't this person had it done before him? Why weren't the Barbarian Times hacked before? Again, remember, hacking into things and going by illegal means to get something is what Dan Wootton was famous for at News of the World, where he would cover his ears, supposedly, and go when anyone asked him about hacking and phone hacking and everything else, he would just change the subject or walk away. Does that sound someone like who's innocent? No. It was followed by the email sent to the newsroom on Saturday night with the subject, over Dan Wootton, reading, "See you at your office and this will flow." You know, it's interesting to see that all this is happening because we got that by there as well. On Sunday afternoon, Peter Jukes returned a missed call and was told, "Are you Peter? You're going to regret this." The only people at this moment in time who seem to be defending Dan Wootton are people who work for GB News and people who believe Dan Wootton's lies from the past. On my video regarding Lily Allen, again, just because people don't like her doesn't mean these things don't happen, you know? And you had people, oh, look at Lily Allen, oh, who would believe her? I'd believe Lily Allen over a reporter any day, especially when that reporter's Dan Wootton. And especially when all the evidence is out in the open, which these people don't seem to realise. You're saying, oh, they're lying. Just go and look at all the Dan Wootton articles that he published about Lily Allen. You can't defend that. Duke says that while receiving the threats is dark and disturbing, his reporters are not deterred, adding, "It doesn't stop us. We double our efforts not to be cowed or intimidated." Good on you, mate. Yahoo News has seen an image of the suspected liquid discovered on the reporter's windscreen on Friday morning, but has chosen not to publish it for safety reasons. But, as you can see right by there, Peter Jukes Smeared on a journalist's windscreen, a hack attempt through our call-out email for witnesses, and now this. The Metropolitan Police have been warned of all of this. They have been sent images and criminal reports have been filed. I've seen it before. This whole dark forces and nefarious actors rhetoric from GB News encourages these kind of threats, which they do. I told you in the previous videos, Dan Wootton, when he did his little monologue, he was calling to arms. People are trying to take down this channel. They're trying to do this, trying to do that. No, Dan Wootton, they're trying to take you down. That's what all these accusations are. They're trying to go for you, not GB News. But again, no, someone like Dan Wootton, who is a narcissist, they project. They go out of their way to make sure that other people look at everyone else apart from them. That's what they do. And the people who follow him and the people who are believing him, I feel sorry for you in a bit because you're believing something that is quite substantially a huge lie. You're believing that people are trying to get the channel down. They're not. They're going after Dan Wootton for some unknown reason. Now, if these accusations turn out to be true, what's going to happen then? It does carry on. While Duke said it could be a coincidence, the timing of the incident suggests their details could have been found via the hacking attempt. Very much so. There is no suggestion that Wootton has any involvement in the threats received by Byland Times journalists, the editor added. Exactly. However, he suggested the Mail Online columnist, who denies bullying staff during his time with The Sun and using fake identities to trick men into sending images, could be stoking tensions with his rhetoric. Well, 100%. And it's back here. On a fundraising page for a legal challenge against the Byland Times, Wootton describes the newspaper as a hard left blog on a deranged campaign of harassment designed to destroy me financially, mentally, and professionally. Yeah, Dan Wootton, the guy who has destroyed so many people's lives, is trying to take the moral high ground. No, Dan, it doesn't work. You have been accused of deranged and horrible things. But again, no, narcissists, they try and blame the other people first. But just because people have come out now, remember now, it's not just one, it's not just two. It's more than half a dozen people. And there's potentially more. Responding to the allegations against him directly on his show, he said he was the victim of a witch hunt by nefarious players claiming dark forces were attempting to bring down GB News, even though GB News wasn't around 3 years ago when all these investigations started. This is a very Trumpian tactic. Trump was alleged to have broken various US laws, and rather address those issues of fact, he said it's a conspiracy and a witch hunt. Yeah. Exactly the same language is used by Wootton. You attack the motive. I understand why he's doing that on a personal level. It's not very convincing on an evidential level. It's not. We'll wait and see as we publish more, and if he ever replies to any of our questions, of which we've submitted 50. And you've had Dan Wootton in the past. Why aren't these people answering my questions? Why aren't they answering my phone calls, my emails? That just shows that they're guilty. Again, going by Dan Wootton's logic, everything that has come out against him is true. That's going by Dan Wootton's logic because of things he has said in the past. People send lawyers. They're just trying to silence victims. Okay, Dan, you sent your lawyers. You're trying to silence victims then. You've got, when you go on and do, all these things on the line, the intimidation tactics. Oh, that's what you did to people. What else is there? Harass and literally just constantly keep surveillance on someone. That's what you did. Going by every single thing that Dan Wootton has said in the past, going by his logic, he is guilty by his logic. And he goes on to say, we have pursued this story because of alleged personal behaviours and things we believe are wrong individually in terms of having false identities and catfishing. That has nothing to do with Dan Wootton's politics. It doesn't. It has nothing to do with his time at GB News. It doesn't. Because nearly all of the evidence we have predates that. Exactly. Duke suggests that Wootton's language is not incitement, but still has a tendency to encourage right-wing figures, who might turn to threats of violence, adding that it appeals to followers of the QAnon conspiracy theory movement. Yeah. The way that Dan Wootton has done his little monologue, everything he said does go towards that area of where people literally will believe every single thing that man says. They're moving into the QAnon crowd here. It's moving into that far-right conspiracy area, where I do think there are disturbed people out there, or people who choose to use this and threatening means, because they feel they've been told that the whole world is at stake. It's an existential fight. Well, you know, that's what they want to do. He added that on previous occasions, when he's been quoted in a tweet by a GB News presenter, he'd never had such level of vitriol in all my years on the internet when attacked by the programme's followers online. Addressing legal threats received by GB News, Duke said, they wrote to many media organisations after our publication saying they were taking legal action against us, which is kind of weird, and then incorrectly saying we hadn't gone to them for comment before publication. We didn't quote them, but they refused to go on the record for the article. The Metropolitan Police has confirmed to Yahoo News that it did receive a report of malicious communication on the 22nd of July, adding that inquiries continue. Yahoo News has contacted police regarding this. It goes in to what Dan Wootton's been accused of, but we've already seen all of that. Everything that has recently gone on just this weekend past because of, obviously, the Boiling Times put out a lot of information, and you've got a lot of other news organisations who have, again, you know, The Guardian have been looking into themselves. The Independent were looking into someone called Martin Branning about 2 to 3 years ago. When you hear those stories, and then when you hear someone come out and say, actually, no, he's the one who's Martin Branning, he's that woman's name as well, it's literally showing how much of a hypocrite Dan Wootton is. But, you know, we will be staying on top of this story. As I said at the start of the video, remember now, these are allegations. I don't like the man, but he is innocent until proven guilty. It's just the whole thing that, oh, it could be a coincidence. That's the part that doesn't rub off on me, because with the emails, with the phone calls, and all of a sudden, just because of Dan Wootton, you know, Dan Wootton's name is involved, it wouldn't surprise me if a couple of people who have watched GB News, who do follow him, and basically they've gone like, that's it, I'm going to stop him. And they thought the best way to stop him was start threatening people. What does that idea give to people like Dan Wootton? Dan Wootton knew what he was doing. He knew what he was saying. He knew he was rallying the troops. And he knew that there were a few people out there who were watching that show with him when he gave his monologue. Yeah, they're going to go do something. He knew. He's not going to tell people he knew, but he knew that there is some people out there who are crazy and deranged enough to go and follow through on something. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell for future updates. Let me know what you think of this down below, and I'll see you all soon.